Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you guys a very easy way to germinate seeds. These are all the seeds that I have laid out, which I'll be using in my video today to show you how to really quickly sprout them. And basically this can take anywhere between 1 to 3 days, and you will see how quickly your seeds will start to grow, and you can begin planting your garden ASAP. Here I have beets, cantaloupe, watermelon, sunflower, squash, pumpkin, and cucumbers. These are the type of seeds that typically take slightly longer to germinate when you put them directly in soil. So I find them that they're much easier to work with when you germinate them inside paper towels. So here I have paper towel. I'm going to be using watermelon seeds as my very first example. And it's best to keep these in a baggie like Ziploc bags. So you want to really make sure that you wet your paper towel completely, and then you want to open up the paper towel, and inside the wet paper towel you want to start placing your seeds, and make sure that the seeds are not just thrown in there. You sort of want to space them out like this, and we're basically going to make sure that all of our seeds are spaced out that way they have enough room to grow and sprout, and that they're not touching each other, they don't get moldy or anything. So we're going to really take our time with these seeds because seeds can just be so incredibly delicate. And now that we're done placing our seeds, I'm going to start folding my paper towel. And I like folding them in this method where they're sort of stacked upon each other, but at the same time the seeds stay separated. So you will sort of see my seeds kind of got messed up a bit, so I'm sort of fixing that up again, but I'm going to fold this. Okay, now that we're finishing up folding our paper towel, we're going to take this back to the sink one last time and place it under cool water. So you want to make sure that you put these paper towels under cold water and not hot or warm water, because that can also, damage the seeds. So I'm going to run this really quickly and sort of drench the water out from my paper towel. And so I know that it's completely 100% still moist and wet, but it's just not soaking wet. And now I'm going to put this gently into my paper towel back into my plastic bag, and I'm going to keep this by a windowsill or somewhere where these seeds can stay warm. So that can be anywhere like your countertop, your kitchen, anywhere where your home is warm. And typically, I like to keep these by a window area where they get some sunlight as well, because that's really healthy for the seeds to germinate. And I'm going to keep the tags, and make sure that you don't throw away your seed cards, because that actually has really important information on the back of the cards. So I'm going to keep the labels here in each of my Ziploc. So now we're going to get started with our other seeds. And so I hope you can see how easy this method is. Here we are with our pumpkin seeds. Now I'm kind of disappointed because in my packet I only had 5 pumpkin seeds, and out of the 5, 1 of them was cracked. So I already know that this will not germinate, but let's try to see if maybe we get lucky with this one seed. But you can clearly see that it's cracked over here, and so I just know that it's not going to sprout. But I'm taking my chance, and I'm going to still keep this inside the paper towel and see if maybe I get lucky. And now moving on to my favorite flowers. Here are sunflower seeds, which you can see these have quite a lot came out in this one packet, and I'm so excited for these ones because they always germinate so well, but they can be a little bit tricky to work with. Typically, sunflowers do take 10 to 14 days to germinate, but you will see that these seeds will sprout within 2 days. And I kid you not, these always give me the biggest, brightest blooms ever. I absolutely adore sunflower seeds. So again, because these were quite a lot of seeds, I'm just folding the paper towel in half, and then I'm going to fold it again in thirds and keep it in my baggie. Same with the cantaloupe seed. I had quite a lot. I had about 20 seeds, I believe, of cantaloupe, and so I'm going to fold this in half and again in thirds. So here I am folding it in half. That way the placement of my seeds also does not get disturbed, and they're still, spaced out and don't get mushed up against one another. And so here it is in 1/3, and again back into a Ziploc bag. And I'm going to keep each of the Ziploc bags separately. Now I have cucumber. Now cucumbers are really easy to germinate because they can literally germinate within 24 hours if you're lucky enough. And I've always been really lucky with cucumbers. So all of my cucumbers are just going to germinate ASAP. But because I don't want to, plant them immediately, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some cinnamon onto my cucumbers. Now the cinnamon powder is a great hack because it really helps to prevent any mold from forming around your seeds, and it helps your seeds to also not die. So I like to sprinkle some cinnamon powder just really gently, so you can see it's like barely there, but it's still there. It's just a little sprinkle around my seeds, and you really don't need it all over. You just need a little bit, like a little dash on your paper towel, and you can again fold it up and place it in the baggie. This will just make sure that your seeds don't get ruined from any mold or anything like that. Now that we're done with the cucumber, I'm going to show you how I place all of my seeds. So again, I individually keep each pack of seeds in different Ziplocs. And some people like to keep their seeds inside cabinets. I just like to keep them by my kitchen window because I like my seeds to get sunlight. I believe that sunlight really does help speed up the process of germination, so they quickly are able to grow. So it's been 24 hours now since my seeds have been placed by the window, and I'm going to just sort of show you how they're progressing. Over here, this was my pumpkin seed, and you can already see that it's starting to sprout really slightly. I can't really tell right now with the sunflower seed. My cucumber already did sprout. I can see white roots on the tops of my cucumber seeds. This is the cucumber, and I know it's kind of hard to see in the video, but I can already see white tops on each of my seeds, so I'm really happy about the cucumbers. And the cantaloupe also, it didn't sprout because it does take a few days for cantaloupe, but my cucumber is ready. One thing that I really like about these seed packets is that behind it really tells you how much space you should provide for each of the seeds when you're sowing them in the garden. And it also tells you how long it takes to germinate typically, and also gives you information on how much space you should sort of allocate for each of these vegetables or fruits. And so this is a great way of sort of just having this at hand. I know Google is available for everything, but these seeds all have, all come from different varieties of the plants. So it's just nice to have the specific plant variety at your hand. And so I don't throw those away, I just keep them. Here are my cucumber seeds, and you can see that within a day, all of my cucumbers have sprouted, and I'm so happy. I know a few look a little bit off because you can sort of see they're getting a bit fuzzy, but that's okay because we have so many seeds over here. And so I'm just so incredibly happy that we have had 100% success rate with the cucumbers. And same with the pumpkins. I'm going to open this up real quick and show you. So here with my pumpkin, again, as expected, the cracked seed did not sprout, but aside from that, the other 4 seeds did. And it's okay if these seedling sort of pierces through your paper towel, because you can always just sort of, instead of like tugging the paper towel to take out the seed, you can just cut that part of paper towel and put the actual seed with the paper towel in the soil directly, and the paper towel will just sort of decompose in the soil. So here's my sunflower seeds, and again, this is after day 1. So this is day 2. My sunflower seeds have all sprouted and they are looking incredible. So just for reference, this is within 48 hours. My sunflower seeds have all sprouted. Now, as expected, my cantaloupe did not germinate all the way. I only have 4 cantaloupe seeds that did germinate, and that is perfectly normal because cantaloupe typically does take a little bit longer. It usually takes about 4 days for my cantaloupe seeds to begin germinating, but that's okay. Here now we're gonna go outside and start our planter for my cucumbers. And what I like to do is I like to sort of take out my, any sort of trash that I may have at home. I like saving scraps of veggies and fruits. Over here I had a scrap of a grapefruit, and so I just threw that on the bottom layer, and this will all sort of just decompose and act like a fertilizer in my soil. Because these seeds are so small and we're trying to, successfully grow them, I'm not going to add any chemical fertilizer. I'm going to just use kitchen scraps and throw them in there. And again, I'm using really good soil. I'm using my Fox Farm soil. And again, I also mixed in some compost, and I also have potato peels, onion skins, along with skins of citrus fruits, all mixed in. And earlier I also had some cucumber peels. Now, if you want to know exactly what kind of soil I use and how I make my soil mixtures for starting seeds, then do comment below and I will definitely make a short video on that as well. Over here though, I'm just adding more of my compost. So I'm just mixing in Fox Farm compost, and I also do add a few other extra things to my Fox Farm soil as well, just to sort of give it extra, moisture retaining nutrients. And now we are going to place our cucumber seeds. And again, we want to be really mindful of the placement and spacing of the seeds according to the seed packets. And here I'm, gently just going to take it out of the paper towel. Some of them might have been pierced through the paper towel, and that's completely okay. You just want to make sure that they're spread apart really well and not touching each other. Now this is day 3, and I'm going to plant my cantaloupe seeds directly into my planter. All of my cantaloupe seeds do have a slight white head, so I had about 15 to 17 cantaloupe seeds, and out of which about 10-12 of them all have white heads that did sprout. So I'm just going to go ahead and plant them directly now into my soil. And again, I'm using Fox Farm soil, the Happy Frog one. This is one of the best soils that you can find out in the market. I know it's a lot more expensive, but it is so worth it, especially during the early initial stages of your garden. I would say, stay safe and try to use the best quality ingredients for starting up your seeds, especially when they're so small like this. Another thing too is that the seed packets also tell you how deep you should sow each of your seeds. So for example, the cantaloupe, I know it's recommended to plant them like an inch deep into the soil. So you want to keep packing your planter and make sure that your seeds are deep enough depending on whichever seed you are sowing. And here is my pumpkin seed. So I know the soil is looking really different on the pumpkin seeds because again, I have my compost mixed in and everything, and I'm going to top it with my Happy Frog soil. And because we only had 4 that germinated and 1 was cracked, I basically threw away the cracked seed. So we're going to keep the 4 that we have. Now we're pretty much done with planting all of our seeds. In this pink box, I planted my watermelon seeds. They all sprouted. I had about 15 watermelon seeds and I placed them all in this cardboard box. And in the box ahead is my cucumber. And again, the reason why I place them in these cardboard boxes, because I know that these are going to become really big. So we're going to take these down into our garden later on, and the cardboard boxes will also just sort of decompose over time. But for now, because we're trying to get the seedlings to sprout, we're going to keep them in these cardboard boxes. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed.